Thank you. Thanks to our. Have a round of applause for our awesome house. For the audience as well, awesome questions. Break for lunch. Feel free to ask more questions amongst yourselves. Network as you please. And
okay, thanks. And actually, so we do have lunch coming. There's lots of pizza, because pizza is hackers, main source of nourishment. But I'm not sure. Is Emmerich here? I think he's actually getting it right now. But something I'd like to do before we start, could you help me? Could you put one of these on here? To the post-it? Yeah, post-it. So we've got arguably. So, although the pizza is also coming to us. So what I'd like to do before we kind of mix and mingle, we built a fairly generous lunch hour and a half into the schedule for people to meet. But to help catalyze meeting people, I want to just go over what the breakout sessions are so far, and then see if anyone else wanted to add a breakout session so that you could know what they're going to be. So the first one, actually, could I enlist you? Do you mind reading these? What's the first one? It says here, governing data. So the first one is data as property. And who's that? Williams? Okay. So I'm just going to shorthand it as data as property for this. So data as property. And what's the name?
It's Mr. Perry.
P-E-R-R-Y? P-E-R-R-Y. And could you raise your hand? So here is Mr. Perry, who's got a lot to say about how to recombobulate the bundle of rights that is property for the digital age. And you'll be facilitating that session. So this will be one of the breakouts. What's the next one? So contracts for dApps.
That's with Kurt Button.
Is Kurt here? So just raise your hand so everyone can see. And Kurt's going to go over a contract he did for a dApp marketplace. So you know how there's like a terms and conditions when you go to the Google Play Store or Apple, App Store. What would that look like for a distributed application marketplace? So he's actually done one as part of his practice of law, and he'll do a run through of that, and we can share some of that knowledge. What's the next one?
DAO design and development.
Kurt.
With Beth.
Oh, that's a big one. Hey, Beth. Oh, Beth.
That's upstairs.
DAO design. Here she comes. Beth. But let's move to the next one, and then Beth will. What's the next one?
Smart contracts and open law.
Okay, open law. Anne, are you here? Actually, why don't you come on up? Anne, and Mr. Perry, why don't you come up too? Are there any others that are on there?
No, that's it.
Okay, so we have room to add more. So let's start with really what?
My name's Walter.
Walter Perry, right?
Right, yeah.
I forgot. I'm sorry.
It's okay.
Okay, so what? Okay, everyone. So what we're going to do is, I'm going to give everybody that's doing a breakout session the mic for a minute, so you can get a sense of what they'll talk about. And then you can self-select the session you want. So let's give some space here. And that'll be a lunch talk, a little different. It'll be down here. Okay. So, Walter, what's your breakout about?
We're working on the assumption that data has some substantive reality as property. And if that's so, it should be governed to some extent by the traditional bundle of rights, which are seen to govern property. The right to alienate, the right to hypothecate, the right to license, the right to exclude. And if those two things are so, where is the substance where that property resides? What is the locus of that value?
Awesome. And Kurt, come on up. What is I kind of already sort of said what your session was about a little bit, I guess, but let's get it from the authoritative source.
Sure. Yeah, so, thank you. So one of the main things about law as it encounters blockchain is the fact that law traditionally thinks of centralized parties. There's a door you can knock on if something goes wrong. And the nature of blockchain is such that, that's antithetical to its purpose. So how do you deal with, putting things out there that, could go wrong, that could cause people losses, and what are going to be those recourses for those people, and how are you going to govern, the indemnities for like who's covering the loss, and how do you limit liability, once you put it out there. Just as a very brief real world example, Ether Delta, when it got popped, they came after the guy who put out the tools because he was the one who facilitated everything. But going forward, is that the responsible thing to do, that someone who makes something and puts it out into the world, and then 2 years later it causes a problem, should you continue to hold that person accountable? So the contract we'll be reviewing is like, how do you handle those with a DApp?
Beautiful. And there's so many parties to choose from, the marketplace provider, the original creators of the app, the people that are operating the app, the people that hacked it maybe in the bad way.
Yep.
Okay, so Beth, are you down here? Beth. Okay, let's move on to open law.
Hi everyone, again, Open Law. I'm Ann, I'm the product manager, and this is Michael. He's one of our legal engineers. So our session, obviously, so Open Law, we're the legal protocol that sits on top of the blockchain. Our goal is to make it a lot easier for legal professionals and other people to actually interact with the blockchain, and so people can actually just focus on the product or their day job. So we have a number of products, anything from kind of signing that gets saved to the blockchain to automating legal agreements and actually handling the data that goes through the contract. So we're just going to do kind of a quick overview of smart contracts and also show a quick demo of like how you can easily automate a contract that you upload to Open Law. Anything else you want to add, Michael?
No programming experience necessary.
Yes.
Excellent, thank you. And is anybody helping Beth here? Anyone can speak to that interactive design upstairs? I'm the worst person to try to say it. Okay, there's a big thing happening. Can you say it?
I mean, she's going to show you how to set up a DAO in a really easy way.
Yes. And also, it's like immersive. Like she's set up this whole physical space where you walk around the space and answer questions, and it's a very cool, like she's kind of was like workshopping it is like what she's doing. Okay, so what's going to happen? So before we go forward, let me ask: is there anybody here itching to do a breakout on another topic? I remember last night we had some brainstorming. Were you raising your hand? No. Okay. So this is not the time to scratch your head, whoever. Do you want to do one? Yeah, come on up. Monax, who actually has a job description called legal engineers, so all hail.
Yeah, so if you want to see Monax, what we've been up to when people were talking about earlier user interface and to see what smart contracts, blockchain, permission network looks like without any of the crypto buzzwords in it, happy to walk through it, talk about it, tell you our hypotheses that seem to be coming pretty true. So yeah, I'll be upstairs and chat.
Beautiful. Okay. Going once, going twice. Any other people want to facilitate a breakout or a dialogue? Okay, good. So you've now seen the people that'll be facilitating these discussions. So over the next 45 minutes with the pizza until it gets here, I encourage you to kind of wander up and talk to people about the sessions that they may be interested in, and also talk to each other. And then once we get this pizza situated, we have a couple of interesting lunch talks as well, and that'll be happening down here. And then we'll have another panel or two, and then we'll all go upstairs where Beth has set up a bunch of little tables and stations, and we'll put little signs up so you can see which one of these conversations is happening at what table, and we can sort of self-organize. So any other questions at this point? Brendan? So it'll be down here, and our panel starts approximately the time that's listed on the website. Okay. All right, everybody. Pizza is here. Enjoy.